So, quite honestly, things are not looking good for Rishi Sunak at this moment in time, if we are really, really honest. In 2 weeks on the trot, he has had to go to see the 1922 committee. And of course, if you don't know what the 1922 committee, it basically is that the Tory leader is constantly in a probation period, that at any moment the Tories can decide through this committee to change their leader. And you can say that there are good things and bad things about the A 1922 committee existing. Labour doesn't have a equivalent committee existing. You can argue again the pros and cons of that not existing, but the fact that he has now had to be called before this committee twice in 2 weeks does not bode well, because there are already talks about changing leader. There's talks about, of course, the Penny Mordaunt plot. Now, Penny Mordaunt, we must stress, has now come out and rubbished these things. I think she was put there as a figurehead, and she didn't want to be that figurehead. No way, not in a month of Sundays. Remember, Kemi Badenoch, exactly the same thing happened to her 2 or 3 weeks ago. And she came out running as if someone had put a fire underneath her, to coming running out and saying, it's not me. I've got no involvement in any of these plots whatsoever. And you're like, wait a minute, plots? There are plots. So will Sunak be the prime minister, the prime minister leading us into the next general election, or at least be the leading the Conservative Party at the next general election? Who knows at this point? I think when you see the interviews with Tory MPs, they've said it numerous times. Doing this would be bananas. Completely and absolutely bananas. But, well, the Tory party has been encouraging such fruitful behaviour in the past, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Not only that, they do not want a leadership battle, because they know that if they do, shall we say, decide to Sunak, shall we say, there will be a very, very messy leadership contest, and that will only damage them even further. So if there is to be a change of leader, they want it to be very definitive, just as Rishi Sunak did when he was sort of taking on Boris Johnson. They did not want there to be, multiple rounds of leadership debates of, 3 or 4 weeks of, them touring the country and saying stuff, all kinds of stuff. And like I say, it would be very, very, very messy, because really your candidates you're looking at are, of course, Penny Mordaunt, Suella Braverman, Kemi Badenoch, and probably even someone like James Cleverly. I forgot his name then. Probably in the running as well. So either way, of which way this goes, it would be incredibly messy and just not good for them. And the Tory MPs, even though they can see this in the polls, they can see how bad they're doing, they know that if they do decide to get rid of Rishi Sunak, well, there is going to be very, very big consequences, and those consequences might not be very good. So as much as they do not like Rishi Sunak, there is, I get the sense of Rishi Sunak, he's having a lot of pressure putting on him at the moment. That's why I believe he's been dragged to the 1920 committee at least twice, like I say, in the past 2 weeks. Basically saying, you've got to perform. You've got to start performing. You were brought in as the guy to right the ship, to correct the course, and so far that's not happening. Why is this not happening? What's going on? You need to start performing. And ultimately, I think if Sunak continues to fail, I think we will really start to see the wheels turn of, well, actually now we've got to get rid of Rishi Sunak. But then you get the eternal question. Remember, one of the reasons why Boris Johnson, before he was dethroned, the question continuously in the months before this was, well, who takes over from Johnson? Who is the natural leader? And of course, before that, when it was Liz Truss, not Liz Truss, Theresa May, sorry, the question was very easy. It was Boris Johnson, because he had made himself the leader in waiting. He had made himself the guy just, waiting to take over, to stroll on the stage, to take over from Theresa May. This is not the same situation. Penny Mordaunt has not made herself the person in the wings. There are still a lot of questions about her performance, her suitability to be able to take over this role. Same for Kemi Badenoch as well. In fact, well, same for almost all of them. Even James Cleverly. Are any of these people really suited to be taking over a role and do what maybe needs to be done to go in and fight a general election campaign, or at least announce a general election campaign almost immediately as soon as they have been crowned? Because that's the other thing that Tory MPs have been constantly saying, that if we are mad enough to go for that, if those 53 letters go into the 1922 committee, if we then have a leadership challenge, and bear in mind, Rishi Sunak may or may not win that leadership challenge, and just as what happened to Boris Johnson and Theresa May, you can win a leadership challenge, but be very, very quickly be shown the door, regardless of how well you did in that leadership challenge. Because I can guarantee you now, it would probably be like Boris Johnson's. If Rishi Sunak had to face a leadership challenge, you would see him maybe just win, just as Boris Johnson did. But then you've got big questions to ask, just as Boris Johnson did. Well, you might be the leader of the party, but overwhelmingly, more than half of your party does not think you are suitable to lead. It does not have confidence in you. I think the exact same thing would happen to Rishi Sunak as happened to Boris Johnson, that if he does win, I think it would be a very narrow victory. Then you would see a lot of pressure come onto Sunak. And then I think he would be gone in a matter of months. We are already hearing at the moment that Tory MPs are blocking the sentencing bill, or the justice reform bill that is coming up in the next couple of months. If Rishi Sunak can't pass that, if he can't pass a bill like that has a lot of critical stuff in it, once again, it makes him look like an absolutely weak prime minister. And I've been saying this for months. Since day one, Rishi Sunak is coming across as a weak prime minister. He is coming across as a weak leader. And you cannot continue in such a position like that and show no leadership skills, no drive, no ambition, not even the will to say, well, actually, look, this policy we pushed was wrong. Maybe it's time we seriously change direction on this. Maybe time to look at new ways of how we can solve this problem, or new ways to approach this problem. He's not even offering any true alternatives. He hasn't even really offered any new policies. Every policy that is currently, on the books or going through is not his. It's something he inherited, going all the way back to the days of Theresa May. But it's a bizarre situation where the Tories just seem paralyzed. And one of the big things, of course, is the looming general election, because the longer they wait to get rid of Rishi Sunak, then the worse it becomes for them. Because if they were to go and replace Sunak now, then maybe you could argue that whoever takes over probably has at least a couple of months to try and do some stuff to try and, quote, rectify the situation. I doubt that they could do anything really to be able to rectify the situation. But eventually they would have to call a general election. And at least if they did it now, then at least they've got a couple of months leeway. If not, then you're looking at a situation where you're going to call a general election, and you changing leaders has not improved your situation. It's only made it infinitely worse, because you might have had to go into a leadership contest. Maybe the crowning of Penny Mordaunt, just as it did to Rishi Sunak, has annoyed even more your own support base. things could go from well, from as they are currently to very bad to even worse for them if they change leaders, and they know that gamble, that risk involved. And you've got a lot of Conservative MPs that are not willing to roll that dice, I think. That's why, once again, I think we've seen probably a lot of pressure being put on Rishi Sunak to perform. And I will say this now, Rishi Sunak has shown no ability to be able to perform as a leader, as a MP, as a minister, as a even prime minister. He has shown none of that ability. And yet, time and time again, he's shown himself how weak he is. The thing is, if you're a Tory MP and you're about to lose your seat, what reason for loyalty do you have to show, not only to potentially Rishi Sunak, but to potentially even to Rishi Sunak's successor, should one happen before the general election? So who knows what may happen in the next couple of weeks. But as you all know, I'm probably going to go on holiday very soon again. And, well, you know what happens when I go on holiday. So, yeah, that could all kick off as again as well. So who knows? Who knows? But as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to click on the like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page, the one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. There's the YouTube thank you button, and of course, as always, there's the Pony Club as well down below as always. And of course, if you do support us by the Patreon or the Pony Club, you will gain access to the weekly membership video that we make. So, as always, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.